what's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. I'm Ben. I do not have these bars tightened down nearly enough. Woo! Today I'm out in the woods testing out this Tesway X5. Woo! And definitely putting it through its paces. So, if you guys want to see if I make it out of here in one piece of this thing, make sure you stay tuned. There is the absolutely massive 25 amp hour battery, which does have a on-off switch right above the charge port. This bike does have full suspension in the rear, which will definitely be helpful with that giant battery back there, and especially if we stick a passenger on here. We've got an awesome backrest. Frame definitely seems like it's set up for one heck of a load on the back there. That is a massive bike. Look how long this thing is. It's like a Cadillac, and hopefully that's what the seat feels like too. It definitely feels pretty plush and is certainly wide enough. Back seat is a bit more firm, but still nice and wide. Backrest actually feels like it should be pretty comfy too. As far as comfort goes up front, we've got some really rubbery, sticky grips that seem like they should be pretty comfortable, along with a twist throttle on the right. And these are mechanical brakes, and if you ever feel those loosening up on you a bit, all you got to do is turn these out and then turn this lock nut in, and essentially what that does is pull the sheath away and tightens up your brakes. There's our mechanical caliper on a 180mm drilled rotor. Suspension up front is adjustable, and you actually can just completely lock the front out if you like. We've got preload on the left. Dual coilovers on the rear with adjustable preload. 7-speed Shimano cassette with Shimano derailleur. And being cast wheels like these are, it's a little bit hard to see the motor, but there's some information on it. 48 volt, 20-inch wheel, 750 watts. That's not a huge motor, but of course that doesn't mean a whole lot. It all depends on what the controller sends it. Chainring seems decently sizable. We'll see how that feels at speed. We've got our lock and our splitting mechanism here in the center for folding the bike up. Pretty standard 7-speed Shimano shifter up here. Tires are 20x4, fairly aggressive knobbies made by Chaoyang. A little removable plate here if you want to attach a big rack to the front. Could of course remove the seat and the backrest and put some sort of rack there. The handlebars have quite the rise to them, sort of a BMX style bar, but definitely kind of curved more for cruising. Let's see what the display and headlight look like. Super cool looking display. Should be able to turn the headlight on. There we go. So the display dims, headlight comes on. Definitely not a very bright light, but still better than nothing, I suppose. So this does have a pedestrian mode. If you hold the minus button down, it will just sort of, maybe it won't take off on you. There we go. I think if I hold the plus and minus button down, this should put us in a section where we can do some changing around. We're looking for 06. We can go into that by hitting the I button, and then I should be able to turn this max speed up. Like 51 kilometers an hour is all we get. All right, let's throw a leg over this thing and see how I fit on it. I am 5'10", 160 pounds, and I've got a 31-inch inseam. And I think we are as low as she goes. Ooh, and I've got to crank that seat down. That slides around a bit. Seat's definitely comfortable, nice and wide and cushy. I think I might want to tip it up a little bit. Everything else feels pretty good. Bars don't feel too far away. Definitely sort of a cruiser layout. As far as the pedal stroke goes, with my legs, I think that should be all right. Obviously, boosting the seat up a bit would help. So that is max setting. I'm not gonna attempt to get a leg over that, but definitely goes up nice and high. The grab handle that I thought was gonna be really nice is sort of obstructed by the seat back here, but it's not the worst bike to pick up. I guess we'll see how I feel after I get a couple miles put on it, or maybe a lot of miles put on it, and then have to lift it back up into the car at the end of the ride. But seems pretty manageable so far. Nice and easy to get on. Can't complain too much yet. Let's get this thing charged up and take it out for a ride. We will, of course, want to make sure we shut this off before charging it up. Plug in our 3 amp charger here. If you guys are interested, there's the specs.
Well, I've got to say, putting this bike in here was definitely a bit of a struggle compared to all the rest. I mean, partially the handlebars are just kind of big. The bike itself is sort of giant. I mean, it fits, but it's heavy, and it's kind of a pain in the butt to get in here, honestly. So this is not really what I would suggest as far as transportation, but of course it can be done. Ugh. And part of the problem is just that there's no good way to slide it. You're sliding it on these passenger foot pegs, and they don't really like to be slid. They kind of bend and flop around on the carpet. Just like with anything, if you did it enough, maybe you'd get better at it. Well, not maybe, of course you would. But for the first time for me, it was definitely a little bit of a hassle. But we made it. We're here, sort of. Not my usual spot. That's actually closed down because it's too wet, so we're just going to run some logging roads. First, we got to get the 360 with the new stick on it that'll hopefully last the entire ride and not just the first 2 seconds like last time. All right, let's see what this thing can do. 0 to whatever the top speed is. I'll compare that to the other bikes that I've tested, and I'll put my specs on the screen here. Tires are at 10 PSI. I will start off in first gear, pedal assist 5. I will use the throttle and the pedals just to kind of see what we can get out of this. Ready, go. A little bit of a downhill here. Had this to 28 at one point. There we go, 28.3. So not bad. Let's see how the mechanical brakes work. Woo! Yeah, not the worst. This is a lot of bike to stop. And speaking of that, it's a lot of bike to start too. Let's see if we can't get this thing to do a wheelie for us. Got quite the wheelbase on it. So that makes getting the front end up pretty hard. Yeah, just not quite. Let's take her down to pedal assist 0. We get absolutely nothing. Pedal assist 1. 9 miles an hour. A little over 12 on 2. 3 is 18 miles an hour and accelerating uphill on 3. 20 on 3. 21, 22 on 4, going downhill. 24. Yeah, the brakes. Boy, I'd definitely like to see some hydraulic ones. I just really do not like mechanical ones. I don't like anything about them. I mean, they work okay on here, but no matter what, I would always rather see a decent set of hydraulics. So, let's see, what do we got to test here? Once the airplane's out of earshot here, we'll test the cadence sensor. So if we start about halfway, I'll give it a pedal here. Yeah, a little bit past a half a rotation, it kicks in. And boy, on pedal assist 5, it kicks in with a vengeance. I'm doing nothing but ghost pedaling here, and that thing takes off pretty quick. And ghost pedaling and the cadence sensor essentially just means that there's a sensor inside of that big box down there that is checking to see if the crank is being spun around, and if it is within a certain window of time, then it engages the motor. There's no sort of speed regulation with that. You can maybe add a little bit of your own power, but other than that, it's just going to take you to whatever speed your pedal assist level setting is set at. Now, as far as the handling on this goes, because of the sort of extended frame and long wheelbase, this thing really feels, I mean, pretty solid, and I guess still pretty flickable too, but not in like a dangerous way. In general, a bike that has a sort of small front tire and high bars is just always going to act a little bit goofy, and it's really just something you kind of got to get used to. On bikes where the frame and the battery are way up high, that can really compound that and kind of make them feel a little bit dangerous. But with this giant battery way down low, just right under me, kind of towards the back, I mean, this thing feels really nicely weighted. It's honestly, I think, one of the most comfortable bikes that I've ridden. This seat is super wide, super comfy, not super sticky, but sticky enough. The bars could be a little bit further out. The bike is also, weighted pretty well, that I can ride it around no hands. I mean, pretty much no problem. Probably shouldn't be doing that at 28 miles an hour, but it's well balanced. I mean, honestly, I like just about everything about this bike other than the brakes. Let's see how hard this thing is to pedal just under my power and not have the motor help me out at all. So pedal assist 0. Bike definitely has some weight to it, and because the crank is kind of shorter, and I guess I didn't notice that looking at it, but I definitely noticed it while pedaling, meaning the actual distance between where my foot is and the center of the rotation of the chainring there, it definitely, it feels like a lot of work, and it's kind of hard to do that work because you don't really have that extra mechanical advantage with the longer distance between those 2 points. So I mean, I could get somewhere, but I can tell, I mean, this is more work than I would want to be doing with my legs for too long. Add in a little bit of power, and oh, it's so much nicer to ride. Now in 7th gear, pedal assist 5, if we get up to 28 here, you can see my legs are spinning just a little bit faster than I think I would like them to. I mean, if you want to get your heart rate up or warm yourself up on a cold day, it's definitely good for that, but it's just too fast to be a comfortable, steady pace. Burst of speed for a little while to kind of get the blood pumping, great for that. Actually keeping this speed, I mean, unless you're just out for a workout, you're gonna end up ghost pedaling. Suspension on the road feels good. Grips on here, I really kind of like. I wasn't exactly sure how I'd feel about them, and I think without gloves on, maybe they wouldn't be all that comfortable, just because they are so grippy, but man, they really feel like they give me a lot of traction and still a lot of comfort. The partial throttle here isn't really my favorite, but I think I probably do like it a bit better than having to use my thumb. It seems like it's sticky enough that, again, with my gloves, I can grab it pretty easy. And really, in general, I mean, other than the bars possibly being a little bit wider, I'm actually pretty happy with the ergonomics of this bike. I mean, it really fits my 5'10" frame really pretty darn well. So if I hit the I button and cycle through all the way to the end here, it looks like it's going to give us amps. Yep, definitely. So we'll put it on pedal assist 5. I won't touch the pedals. Let's see if we can make it up this hill. Yeah, not bad. We'll give it just a little bit of help. That's a pretty rough start, and that's a pretty big hill, so not terrible for as heavy as this bike is. Whoa! And hopefully I can keep this thing upright. The last folding bike that I was out on, things actually went quite well, but the very first one, well, that one didn't quite go as planned. And this one feels, I don't know, not like it was meant for this necessarily, but really, I mean, not half bad, honestly. I mean, I'm cruising along at 20 miles an hour. Heck, what am I talking about? This isn't half bad at all. Now, the tires being aired down to 10 PSI, of course, is going to help, but the suspension, I'm sure, is also helping us out a bit. Ooh, careful on the ice. And the reason that I'm aired down to 10 PSI is just because things, as you can see here, are, well, a little bit slippery. If you were looking to come back here and go hunting on this, or even just cruising, I mean, probably isn't the most ideal bike for that, but I mean, if you need it for something else and you still want to be able to get out and do stuff like this, or if you're looking at something like this for commuting or moving cargo around on, this isn't a half bad bike. Definitely not what I expected. And I do feel, I think, that front coming all the way down. Oh yeah, whoop. It's definitely a sort of bouncy suspension. So I've got the seat raised up a bit now just to kind of see what this is like to pedal from a little bit higher up. And man, this is a very comfy bike to just cruise on. And I mean, I think that's what most people are going to be doing on it, going from point A to point B. And point A and point B can be quite a ways away from each other with this big battery in here. But honestly, I mean, you don't really feel like you're dragging it around. I mean, it's not the lightest bike in the world, of course, but I mean, if I've got to help this thing up the hill on pedal assist 1, whoops, run over a little bit of coyote poop in the process. I mean, hey, even on the snow, we're getting up in it. It does seem like these tires do a pretty good job. Of course, being aired down helps a lot, but I mean, they feel pretty darn good. No complaints yet. I don't know exactly how long these things will last you. Maybe somebody of you guys can chime in, but as far as traction goes, they sure feel nice and sticky. Even having to grab the front brake a bit on the snow. Whew. Of course, anticipating a bit of slippage. Ah! I mean, it's usable. I have found, especially when I get going a little bit faster, that these mechanical brakes just don't really do it with 2 fingers, and that's generally how I like to ride around, is with either 1 or 2 fingers on the brakes. And I like to be able to pull them in far enough and easy enough with just 2 fingers that I don't crash into the rest of my hand, so I can keep control on the bar. And also, I actually want to be able to bring the bike to a halt, and I'm really just not able to do that with these. Maybe once they wear in a little bit more, that would be possible, but right now, it's just not. You need all fingers on lever. That was really a horrible all hands on deck reference. Oh, that is so nice to be able to just pull your leg through there after a lot of riding. Let's do some real off-road riding here. Oh, look at this. That's a deer scrape. He's nibbling on these, messing around with his antlers and scraping that off. There's an old print there too. Huh, snow must have been hiding that. That happened a while ago, I think. Uh-oh, now we got obstacles. Wow. Yeah, I think some of that's the tires, but still, that's pretty comfortable for a bike that is really meant to be hauling stuff around on the road and doing long stints on the road. Man, I mean, this isn't bad. Is it great? Well, I mean, of course not, but look at that. Another deer scrape mark. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Now we're getting into some rough stuff. Yeah, and in general, I mean, a 20-inch front wheel is not really what you want for this sort of thing, or this sort of riding, but obviously it makes it a little bit more manageable when you're folding it up, or trying to fold it up. Oh! It does make them a little bit more manageable, but of course they don't handle absolutely excellent for stuff like this then. Oh boy, made a bit of a mess of itself though, so I guess the fenders are probably helping out a little bit, but not as much as they need to be, obviously. Good thing we didn't have a passenger back there. Oh, and I almost completely forgot to mention the awesome little taillight back here. Looks like that's a little knocked to the side. As we turn the headlights on, we've got a pretty nice taillight and a brake light. There we go, brightens up a bit. This is out of this bike's depth. This is just too much. It can't get the wheels turning on its own. I found myself kind of pushing the bike through, but we're back on the trail just in time to go around another tree. Oh, stabbed in the neck by a stick. Oh, just trees after trees. I suppose a tornado went through here a couple years ago, and this isn't really part of the trail that they maintain anymore because they're not logging it. We've got plenty of battery. Why not keep going? Because my better judgment tells me not to? When has that ever stopped me before? Whew. Okay, well, I guess that works. As far as response goes from the throttle, it's nothing that's going to throw you off at the back, but I mean, it'll get you going. Certainly not something that I would buy if you're looking for thrilling acceleration, but in general, most of these e-bikes really just aren't intended to thrill you. They're just intended to sort of take off slowly as you would if you were just pedaling a regular bike. And that's sort of what allows them to be allowed in so many more places. I mean, basically, so far, whoa! In my area anyways, they're just classified as just a regular old bicycle, and you can go more or less wherever you please. So that's definitely nice if you're somebody that rides a motorcycle and is looking for something a little bit closer to home to ride. One of these can maybe not completely make you feel like you're on a motorcycle, but it will pass for some trail riding anyway. Yeah, standing up pedaling, pedal assist 2, not bad at all. Definitely could see doing this. It's a little bumpy. Maybe we'll knock it down to 1. I think then I'm just going to be pedaling ahead of the pedal assist though, aren't I? Yeah, and that's not bad. I suppose we might as well knock that all the way down to pedal assist 0 and see just how hard this would be to pedal all the way out if I had to. Uh-oh. Woo! Yeah, I would not recommend any off-road pedaling. That's a little too much work. Certainly too much to be enjoyable. Woo! So I haven't really been watching this amps at all. Let's see what that does. 16, 18, 20 amps. I don't know that whoa, brakes are getting a little noisy, which will definitely happen kind of as these things, wear in. When it's wet, it also kind of makes that worse. Definitely makes it more noisy. Yeah, I mean, things feel a little awkward every once in a while, and that front's bottoming. I could turn the preload up, I suppose, but it's not like it really bothers me too much. Did I turn that up or down? I guess it's a little better. So that's either just locked, so you can put a little more pedaling down, or just set at whatever preset compression damping is. Whoa! Yeah, see, so there the front tire kind of wants to dig and dive. Definitely something you run into. Ooh, that's a crick. Whoa! Bit of a hill here, hard to tell, I'm sure, with the camera. But even with the bumps, it's carrying me up all right. We're still showing 100% battery, but of course that's not true. How many miles have I put on? 5.7. And yeah, we have not even dropped the bar, which I'm not surprised at all by. I mean, this is a giant battery. I think I could probably do a heck of a lot of riding like this. And the majority of what I've done today has been all throttle. I mean, I've helped myself up hills a little bit with the pedals, but I mean, that doesn't really count for much. Well, I've got to say, man, I am pretty darn impressed with this thing. Of course, it's not meant to do what I did to it today, but I mean, look at it. It made it. It really did. I mean, way better of a job than I thought it would, honestly. So if you're looking at this thing to ride on the road, I mean, I don't think that there's anything that you're going to find, any road construction or anything that is going to stop you if you really want to get through it on this thing. And of course, if you have the skills to get this giant thing through there. But I mean, it really doesn't feel that heavy, where the battery is kind of centralized on the bike and somewhat down low. Of course, you've got a bit of weight in here. Most of the frame is down low. It balances nice. It feels good. I usually don't like, or in the past, I guess I should say, I have not liked these foldable pedals. But these, I mean, it seemed like they held up okay. I didn't feel like I was falling off at all. It would be nice if there was a little bit better of a spot to get your hand in here to grab, but I mean, I guess at least there's something there. Seat doesn't really seem like it's something you should be picking it up by. Of course, I've only got a couple miles on it, but in those couple miles, I've been honestly nothing but impressed. This thing is comfortable. It performs, I think, just about as well as you need a sort of cruising cargo style bike to. So if you guys want to pick one of these up, I'll put any sort of affiliate code or discount code that I can offer you down in the description. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care, stay safe, stay swanky, get out and enjoy this beautiful world any chance you get. And hey, if you can't do that right now, here's some more videos to check out in the meantime. Let's go home, bike. Yeah! This is going to be the most difficult part of this test. Oh boy. Yeah, that is just a lot of bike to be lifting up.